So tell me something, like you were at an engineering college and you got an offer as a UX designer from your engineering college.
Yes, that's
Now,
right.
how did that happen? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Detox, the design podcast. Today, I have Shreya with me, and I am really excited about this episode, Shreya. Thank you for joining this show today, and thank you for accepting the invite to share your story because I'm sure the audience is going to love it because you are another designer who is working in the industry as a UX designer at Precisely right now who haven't had a formal design education, right?
Yeah,
You got the UX designer job from your engineering college. I mean, it cannot get more interesting than that for me.
thank you so much for having me, first of all.
It's a pleasure. So, how have you been coping up with the current situation?
I think I've been reading a lot of positive things around me and engaging myself into fitness and at the same time painting and doing other sorts of things
That's cool.
post office. So I think that is also helping me out. Calling my friends, checking up on them time to time. Yeah, so
That's nice. And so, has it changed how you look at things from the perspective of a designer? How has it changed your what do you say? How you look at everyday things?
I think overall the perspective of how I look at things has changed definitely because I go more into the depth of it. And I think it is like inevitable to not be curious about things, about how anything works, how anything is. And automatically, even if it is related to design or not, I'm talking about anything right here, right now. It's just that I have to know something. I have to know what someone else or someone else's field is like, or what this experience is like. I want to empathize with everything and anything. That is what I feel all the time.
It's a perfect quality to have for a UX designer, right? I mean, for any designer, yes, but especially for a UX designer, that's pretty much you do everything, right?
Definitely. And I feel even little things like, even if right now, since we are all everything, even finding little solutions where, you can experience, enhance your experience while even washing the dishes or how the tap water is running. Every little thing, like you start observing things in a very different perspective, as you said. Like, yeah, that's what happens.
That's cool. Being like observant about whatever is happening. That makes sense, perfect sense. Because even I am going through the same process. Like I keep helping my mom out in different chores and everything. So there are things that I think about improving and basic things. I mean, even the layout of the house. So how could
Yeah.
it be made better? So keep thinking.
Yeah.
So that's very, very common. I've been noticing whenever I'm talking to another designer that they're doing these things. It's very, and I think this is also the most important thing. What we as designers tell that aspirants also to be very observant about things around them.
Yeah, definitely. And after a point, I feel it comes to you subconsciously. I mean, it's just there. You're not actually paying attention to it, but you still pay attention to it.
Right. So, Shreya, tell me how you became a designer. Right. So, engineering college and graduated. And I know some backstory also, but I want to hear from you. Like I know that you had like plenty of backlogs also.
Oh yes, that I did. So it's actually a very interesting journey that I had, and I was not prepared for it, or I can say if I go back to the Shreya that I was like 4 years back, and when I just joined the college, I had no idea this is where I would be right now. And I think that itself gives me goosebumps at time, even if I'm sleeping and I'm in my bed and just thinking, I'm so happy to be a designer. Oh my God, it's that feeling and it's so liberating. So my journey actually started when I was one of those people who had no actual goals, I can say. I was just following the system of becoming an engineer, my MBA, become an HR or into marketing. And this is how I was supposed to really like do my things and everything. So once I joined my engineering college, which was Symbiosis, I can say I was fine at whatever I was doing, but then there are certain subjects you hit and then you feel like, oh my God, I don't like this at all. That was the downfall for me. And I realized from second year, this is not this, I'm not liking this actually. But then it was just theoretical for me, not liking the part. But during my internship and fourth year, first semester, I realized that this is definitely not something I want to pursue or do in my life. I got frustrated after 1 month of my internship, and I was not really understanding what was happening. I was not good at it simply. And I feel it was toxic in a way for my mindset also. And then I realized that, okay, I have 5 months and I will do my internship like completely and the way I'm supposed to. But at the same time, I will also start looking around for digging into things where I can have new experiences and find out what I actually want to do. But the scenario was so bad that I had my backlogs. I had to complete my backlogs. I had my internship going on, which was not at all something I was liking. Also, on the top of that, I was figuring out what I want to do in my life. Generally, it so happens that we listen to a lot of people saying that I want to do this in life, this is passion and all. And sometimes we do feel like, okay, maybe, they are exaggerating things. Like they want to wake up on a Monday and feel like, wow, I'm going to work and all. But it is actually true. You do want to feel like, wow, it's a Monday and I'm going to work. And I think I was sort of looking for such a kind of thing that can please me in life. And the journey was very difficult because I started off looking for roles of HR. I spoke to my friends and my mother and asked her, what am I good at? I saw a bunch of TED Talks too. And she was like, you're good at communication maybe. And I was like, okay, maybe I should pursue a career in HR. I tried being an HR. I used to empathize that I'm an HR for a week. I used to talk to my friends in certain kind of tone. And I realized that I used to do a lot of research, what HR does on a daily basis, connected with a lot of real people who are HR on LinkedIn. And that sort of gave me an insight how HR job is. And I was not at all interested. Similarly, I tried a lot of things from going up to like, I can say a length of writing mail to National Geographic Channel or, applying to become a writer and everything. So I tried all of those things and realized that 5 months have been gone. I am nowhere right now. The frustration was again, what should I do right now? And my placements also started. I had only 6 months left to clear my backlogs, find a job and please my parents. And I had nowhere to go. But I remember there's this company came for placements, Hello CSS. It's a design studio based in Mumbai.
Okay.
And they were supposed to go to Symbiosis School of Design, but then I think there was a mistake and they came to Symbiosis for hiring. And there was a job role for UX UI designer, not just UX UI designer. And then I was like, okay, this is very interesting because for an engineer, okay, what is this UX UI designer? And I started researching a lot about it. And there came a point I remember, like potentially I felt this is the exact kind of thing that I would like to do in my life. New experiences, new projects, something I would like to be happy about and, research and gain new experiences overall. Solve real problems for real people. Because if you're not, like, if you always will want to do something for the country, this and that, but is it really possible that day-to-day basis we cannot actually impact a lot of people? But this was one platform where you can actually impact a lot of people. And I feel this is it. This is what I really want to do. I like observing people. I like to empathize with them. I used to read a lot of books as a child. And definitely, let's give it a try. I was in that phase, like, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. Then as I started researching, I fell in love with the entire concept and how people are. I read a lot about famous UX designers, from Don Norman to Jake Knapp and so many people. And that was really interesting to know about their life. And, even they came from different backgrounds. It's not like they were designers from the start.
Yeah.
So it gave me a perspective that you can use your life I can say journey or your experiences and mold them to become a designer, because it's all about solving solutions and problems for real people.
Absolutely.
And then I remember telling my friends about it, like, okay, this is something I want to do, and all making fun of me, like, come on, you're an engineer. How are you supposed to even become a designer? You don't have the skills. Uh, I did feel bad, but then I was so sure about it that it gave me a clarity, a sense of clarity that no, this is what I want to do, and let's start my journey about it. At the same time, I told my parents, and there was a war going on at home. Like, what is she doing? She's having backlog. She's into design now. She's just lost her mind completely. And I feel that was the moment when I realized that I really have to take my engineering seriously right now. Because if I want to become a designer, I should complete what's I have in my plate right now. So I took some interest in engineering, and I had to keep my design completely away, like not research or Google about it, because I had so much to do, considering my final year project and thesis and all. But because I really was passionate about UX design, I could clear all my backlogs and actually have a good GPA in all of them. I can say you have to give 2 semesters together plus your current semester. That was the amount of backlogs that I had, and I did clear it in one go.
Crazy.
It's all, if you have passion, I feel you just work hard towards everything.
Yeah.
So that was my journey, and then I was completely sure after clearing my backlog, like, this is what I want to do.
Tell me something here. Like, when you just shared it with your family, you shared it with your friends, they made fun of you, or they were not sure if you were doing the right thing. So, did you try to convince them, or did they get convinced after you landed a job?
I feel that there was this point that I was not interested actually in convincing anyone. I had the lack of resources from my parents did not provide me a proper laptop. I had a Pentium laptop, like a Pentium, very old laptop where you cannot design on it. So but I had friends who had good gaming laptops or Mac, I can say, where I can borrow their laptop for a night when they used to go to sleep, and then work on it, and then give it back to them in the morning. So it was like my parents, I had to prove it. Obviously, I had to prove it, and it was right also. I mean, you have to be sure this is your. You have to prove it. There is no other way out of it. And even if they are not supportive in life, there are going to be so many roadblocks that you have to overcome by yourself. So I think it was a good starter for me, where I felt that rejection was really nice. I took it in a very positive way, actually.
Nice. Very good that you shared this, because a lot of students do go through this process. And we just did a small poll on YouTube asking if do you find it difficult to convince your parents that you want to take up design as a career? And 45% of them said yes. 45% of them said yes. So that's a big, huge percentage over there, right? So they find it difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I think listening to you, that's one way of doing it. Like, not really bothered about convincing the parents or anybody, but just focusing on what you want to do, and then time will eventually prove it to them.
Yeah. Okay. So about convincing parents, I feel that they have to. They are the first users. If you actually want to become a UX designer, that is how I would like to put it. Right. You have to empathize with them, what they are feeling, and how would you convince? How would your kids convince you if they are changing their domain or something? And you have to step into their shoes and think like, how can I convey this to them? And I feel that you can get the right now, because since they are parents, you know them for a very long time. So that is how, if there is one way you can actually convince them. If they are still not listening, the second best option is to proving. But before proving to anyone else, you should be 100% sure about that is something you really want to do.
Yeah.
And you should have utter faith on it, unshakable.
Yeah. That's like, I completely relate to that. I still remember when I used to do all the illustrations during my engineering. I used to do exhibitions and stuff, but still my dad would come and say that, okay, क्यों time waste कर रहा है तू ये सब करके? But eventually he understood. Eventually, they see the outcome. They see that I'm really passionate about it. That I'm really working hard. And then there are still roadblocks because there are practical questions that come in saying that, okay, Avish, you haven't studied about it, right? You just spent 4 years and time, the resources, I mean, the money that goes into it, the effort that goes into it, and 4 years is a long time.
Yeah,
it's a freaking long time. So you now say that you want to change and start something absolutely new, right? So that's also a little, it's a very shocking thing for them.
Yeah,
it's shocking for them. It's also a lot to digest because after 4 years, when you are supposed to go get a job, you say, no, I want to start over again.
Right? Yeah, true. Yeah, that is true.
So tell me something, like you were at an engineering college and electronics, right?
Electronics and telecommunication, right?
Electronics and telecommunication. And you got an offer as a UX designer from your engineering college.
Yes, that's right.
How did that happen?
So, as I mentioned, I was actually working for a year, but my college, they provide placements for up to 2 years, even after you graduate. So that was a really wonderful thing. And I used to keep constantly checking mails. I don't know why, but then there was a feeling that, maybe let's see what happens. You never know. And then Precisely came up with a job role for a UX developer, not a designer. And my college is in Pune, and I realized that this is really interesting, and maybe there's maybe they have a designer's role as well. So I just Googled and I checked, and there was, So I went to college all the way to Pune. I directly spoke to my placement head, ma'am, and I asked her that if she can give a call to the HR and ask her if there was a designer job role as well.
Okay.
And I remember she looking at me and she was like, okay, I'll give a call, and completely confused about what is she talking about, what is this role she wants to apply, and why is she talking as a designer and all. And then she asked me, you're from electronics and telecommunication, right? I'm like, yes. She's like, okay, fine, I'll give her a call. And then she called the HR, and the HR said, yes, there's an opening for a UX designer. And that was it. I knew it that I don't know, I'm going to give my 100%. It was a really amazing role. And I had researched about the company values. And I just felt that this is it. I want this, and I'm going to work hard for this role. And it was not easy, to be very honest. I did not have a portfolio also in my hand at that time. And I remember going back to my friend's flat, sitting there, taking her laptop and just making something right then and there, because I had only half an hour to send it to the placement head so that she can direct it to the HR. And so I remember, and then after 15 days, I got a call from the company saying that, hello, this is the first interview round. And it was a very shocking thing because I was not expecting it, to be very honest. I thought, okay, hoga, this and that. But and I feel the entire journey of getting into Precisely was very challenging also. Because it was very different from the other experiences that I had, because this was a huge company solving problems for real people. So overall, I felt that I fit in here perfectly. And it was not an easy okay, you just go and you get the role and everything. There were a lot of rounds, I can say 6 to 7 rounds actually.
Crazy.
And
So one thing that I wanted to ask you, you mentioned you had a lot of backlogs, right?
Yeah, so, definitely.
I want to talk about your mental state a little. So back then you were a little confused, you were a little uncertain about what you wanted to do, and then you decided somehow, stumbled upon that UX designer position in your college, and then you got to know about UX, and then you researched, and then you got to know, okay, But then the image that you would have you would have had in engineering college would be that of a person who has a lot of backlogs, right?
Yeah, you're coming to the right thing. Yeah.
So now, to cope up with that, and then to come out of it, and then come out of it in a way that you are working in the industry without a design education as a UX designer at a company which is American company, I believe.
Yeah, it's a huge company.
Yeah, it's a big company. So how did that thing happen? Because you need to be very strong mentally to take all of that and then come out of that. So can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, this is actually very important for me also in my journey. I'll tell you why. So when I was I was doing my engineering, and my second year I got my first backlog. And then the entire thing, they say, it starts and it's never ending. The chain once it starts. And my backlogs were not mostly because I flunked. They were mostly because I never attended the college. And I was in the college, but I never used to attend. And my professors used to go bonkers. Why is she not attending the college? I mean, she's here already. And I used to always ask myself, why am I doing this all the time? Okay, I am here, but why am I doing this? And Symbiosis had a very strict rule for attendance. So if you're not in that 75% of attendance, they won't let you sit for the exam. So, and that is how my backlogs changed. It started building up. And the way people treated me was like, it was kind of pathetic to a level, because they thought I'm dumb. I don't understand anything. I'm just wasting my life. And this girl has no goals. And when I sat for placements, I remember they were like making faces, why am I sitting for placements? What is she going to do? There were many people who were supportive, for sure. Yeah. But then so many people who are not. Even I remember for my thesis or for my final year project also, I remember there were not a lot of people who were taking me in their group or like that. Yeah. But then finally I came along, I stumbled upon with a group, and they were like, okay, we did this very amazing thing actually, digital image processing. And when they realized that I'm actually very responsible and I was taking an initiative to do everything, they asked me a question, dude, it doesn't feel like you're the same person, I mean, we thought that you're this very irresponsible child and I feel that it's upon you. It's your mental state, how you see yourself always. It's not how people see you, because you know yourself the best, you know your journey, you know your experiences that you had. So you can't just break because people are not treating you well, and because you know that this is the end of the line or something. No, everyone has a different timeline, I feel, of understanding the situation and what one is going through. So just stay there, just hold on, and I'll say just hold on and don't rush into things. Don't run to conclusions. Don't be negative about anything. Just be there and just keep working, and you will definitely realize what you are and what you want.
Thank you for mentioning that, because that's a challenge that a lot of students do face, and I only had one backlog, so I did not have to go through all of that pressure. But yes, but it's so true that because I've been in an engineering college, and how we look at people with the backlogs is different. Like they talk about people like that, right? इसके तो इतने backlogs हैं, उसके तो इतने backlogs हैं. So it's not easy to deal with that.
I'll tell you one more thing. They're not completely wrong also, I realized that when I started I started doing good in college. They are not completely wrong. At this age, you come here to do a specific thing, and if you're not doing that, it means definitely that you're not concentrated on in your life or something. So I feel even there, as I said, I empathize with people. So even they're completely all right. They're doing the right thing by talking about us like that. We are definitely going somewhere wrong. We're supposed to study, and what are we doing? We're not studying. But beating yourself up is not the right thing to do. You can actually do the right thing, that is study and clear your back.
Yeah, that's completely true. I have also bunked a lot of classes, but I used to find myself sketching. I used to find myself going to these art galleries, looking at those stuff, and that's how we also got to know about this art gallery where we could also exhibit our work, and that's how our journey started. Like my friends and my journey, three of us, and three of us are designers right now, and three of us have design startups. So yeah, I mean, that's I mean, in I think in everybody's life there is that moment where it comes and hits you that okay, this is something that But the only thing is you have to keep looking for it. You have to keep searching for that particular thing which you want to do.
Universe does has this crazy thing that if you really want something, you start looking at that thing everywhere. And I think that is something also happened with me. Like when I realized that UX design is something I really want to do, everything around me was related to UX design. I remember talking to my friends about posters and about banners from Pune Mumbai Express, like when I used to travel from Pune Mumbai Express Highway. And they used to get irritated. Why you always look at things, Why do you always have to talk about logos and this and that, or in general? I used to ask my mom also while designing that, what do you feel? How do you feel? How is this? How is that? I think my mom also knows that at this point what UX is, like properly.
That's great. That's great.
And also one last thing about backlogs is that I personally felt this, that why do you need to have backlogs and then clear it anyway in the final semester? You have to clear it anyway. So just try and make a habit to don't have that. It's not a cool thing. I feel that like many millennials, they feel that, oh my god, I have a backlog, it's so much, it's so cool. It's not cool. It's not cool at all.
It's not. I was lucky enough. Actually, I had two backlogs. One I cleared. Second one I just didn't think about it that much. But my university was kind enough to give me grace marks because I did not have any other backlog, right? So
people will be always jealous of you.
बेचारा निकाल दो इसको.
Oh yeah. Definitely. But I feel after clearing my backlogs, I came close to a lot of professors. And then I realized, there's a nice thing to professors. We cannot be scared of them and not go to classes also. That is also one thing that, they help you. They always definitely help you always.
That's true. True.
I feel even right now, my colleges, even if I've changed my domain and everything, my college is very supportive and they're so proud of me. So that is also one thing, like you never know, what might happen. Yeah. So my college now, that they are actively taking role into understanding where how people are, like how students are into different other fields, and they are motivating them. It's completely fine if you come to us for a different role. And I think that's a really nice thing that I started.
So tell me something about your first job as a UX designer. I think it was at Corpus Vision, right?
Yes, definitely. So what happened is that since I had no proper education or background in design, I feel that there is everything on the internet. There's all the information that you need. So you just have to find a way to get the correct information the correct way so that you're actually reaching your goals. So I had certain milestones for me. So the first was actually understanding the tools, and the second was make a portfolio. And understanding the tools, before that, a lot of research was done on what design is, and actually going into the depth of it, reading a lot of blogs on Medium. I didn't know what Behance was. So figuring out everything was I can say it was a journey I started from zero. And I kept certain checkpoints or milestones where I would just take, okay, this thing is done. Okay, I'm on my correct path. Because it sometimes happens that you get so much into the depth of some different things and you completely forget what your goal was. So that really helped me to keep my perspective very practical about what I want. And this is the point, I actually need to have a job. So after my engineering, I never landed up with an engineering actual job. So At Corpus Vision, I remember I applied to a lot of places and my portfolio was very bad. Right now, I can say that. But back then, I really felt that I have done something and, I should be rewarded something for it.
Yeah.
At Corpus Vision, I remember this guy, Vineet Kashyap, was the creative head. And what he did was, because it was a one-on-one interview, he asked me a bunch of questions. And I knew like certain points, and then because I've been rejected so many times also before, I used to ask them, I used to mail them that what did go wrong, exactly, and what step. So some people used to say that you don't have that business perspective. So I was just like, business perspective, why do you need if you're a designer? But no, if you want to retain the business, that is the whole purpose of why people are coming on board and actually enhancing their UX. It is very important. It is in the end for the market. So I realized, okay, this is something I missed. So I kept on building myself on the mistakes that I made, and also from other people who I used to talk to, who gave a bunch of interviews. And finally, after coming to Corpus Vision, my creative head gave me 15 days to prove myself because he knew I had no laptop, I had nothing at all. So he gave me a laptop. He told me that you have 15 days, you have to make all these things. Generally, the assignment is for, they give you 48 hours to do the assignment. That is how the drill is. But then he gave me 15 days and asked me to make 4 screens and the entire journey mapping for an application. And I remember I went home, I started doing it day and night. On the 7th day, I went back to work and I told him, like, this is what I made. And his expressions, I still remember, like, so disappointed with me, like, I gave you a chance and this is what you did. And I felt really bad. Then I realized one very important thing. Why am I trying to please my creative head? I should be actually doing it for the users, to please the users, or, to enhance their journey, and not from my creative head so that he approves me for the job. And that is what I did. I went back home. I actually drafted whatever I could with how much of a knowledge I had. And I made a journey out of 4 screens. And when I presented it to him, he asked me a bunch of questions like, I did not like it. Why did you do this? And I answered him, this is how it should be. Maybe I felt this is the right thing. Please let me know if I'm wrong. And I think and after a time, like, there was a mail I received that, congratulations, you are hired.
That's great.
So yeah, I think, and then I worked there for 1 year. I think I really grew with the amount of, he was a good mentor, I can say, and everyone in this field needs a good mentor. Yeah. And also the point where I never thought feedbacks could hurt so much and they could break you, but feedbacks are something that actually also builds you.
Yeah.
You will feel that as just a beginner that, oh my God, I'm really bad at this, maybe I should quit. But no, it's all right. It's completely all right.
Right. So I remember a small thing about feedbacks. So when I went to do my master's, till then I used to think, okay, I have decent sketching. Okay. So one of my professors actually said, I was presenting to him for the first time about the project that we were assigned. It was an automobile interior design project. Okay. So I was presenting him the first week review. He said, he just flipped all the pages and he said, Sanjay, don't you ever show me the shit again? That was the feedback. It just blew me away and I said, okay, what do I do now? Tell me. He said, no, figure it out. That's the only feedback that I got. And I spent another week, show him something, said, no, redo. That's it. Nothing else. Said, okay, let me do it again. 3rd week. Then I show him something which is, and then that review completely, like, I was devastated after that. Like he said, this is something that I do not want to see in the next review. Okay, so just tear these pages off. Don't ever look at them. I want you to design an interior without sketching. I was like, what are you even talking about? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Just tell me. So he said, think about it. I'll just go around the class, give everybody feedback, and then I'll come to you later. So the class happens for 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. I was like sitting there and wondering. I was just pulling my hairs out. I was like, क्या करना क्या है यार? Like sketch नहीं करना तो कैसे करूँगा मैं? And then he showed me. After a while, he came back and he said, "You look miserable now. Let me show you something now." So he showed me a few things, and I said, "Oh wow, this could be done like this also, like without even sketching." I won't go into detail about that, but that's a complete different story. I mean, it'll take a lot of time to explain all of that. But yeah, so then he showed me something, and then he said, "Try something like this, and then bring me something interesting." And I said, "Okay." And when I presented in the final presentation, he was pushing me continuously. So the feedbacks, taking the feedbacks, it was so tough in the beginning that, you put in a lot of work, especially when you're so passionate about your work. You put in a lot, your heart and soul into it. You just want that to be, okay, this is the perfect sketch that I've made. This is the perfect design that I've made. Nahi, aisa nahi chalta hai. Like, it's like, that day I just realized, okay, I should treat every sketch like it's good for nothing. And that's level 0, and then build on it. That was the time when I actually understood that. So what you're trying to say, what you just mentioned, that, it can help you grow. And what I presented in the final presentation, he was saying it for the first time because he was, I wouldn't say he was cruel, but he was, what do you say? I respect him a lot. He's really nice. But what do you say? He was pushy enough to say that even before the final presentation, he said, you still have 1 week, right? Show me something new. And I was like, what is happening? But he did push me into this technique that I use it now, even now, for my design. Like, even if I have to design a product, a car design, or even illustrations for that matter, I do the brainstorming with that technique on Photoshop without even sketching sometimes. So it's something that defined how I approach design projects. Right? So that's completely, it wouldn't have happened if I did not take it properly, if I did not take it in a very, positive way. I was devastated, yes, but the mindset that, acha, theek hai, what's the solution? Right? What's the solution? What's the solution to this? What should I do now? That completely, like, it's the most important thing that you've mentioned about feedback. You did end up getting the job, right?
Yeah.
So after that whole thing, you did end up getting the job. And even in for me, for the final presentation, he was like, now this is something interesting. He gave me full marks for that project. So I was...
Oh my God.
Yeah, he gave me full marks for that, yeah.
Oh God.
So it was really... the idea was to get used to taking feedback. That's very important.
Definitely.
Right.
Also, I just remember the fact that there were times when I used to get different projects, and when it comes to a startup, you have different types of people from different verticals coming to you, and you have to actually empathize with them. And when we say empathy, it's very easy for us to say, like, okay, empathize karna and all. But actually empathizing someone is very difficult. You have to see how their life is, what they are feeling at that current moment. And I feel because of that one thing, as of like my personality also, somewhere I realized that I've grown up from what I was used to feel. And in future, when I like talking to other people or I have certain other projects, I can relate it to it. So I feel overall it really helps taking feedbacks from anyone, be it. So you can, so, and you really have to respect. You can't be like, they are not designers, so I don't value their feedback.
Yeah.
That should not be the case.
That's true. And also, I think it changes the outlook in life also.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually,
that is what, definitely.
It's also there. So, your work at Corpus Vision was a mix of UX design and a little bit of graphic and...
Yeah.
Right? So it's a startup, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I had to wear a lot of different hats all the time. I realized that I was even making logos,
Mm,
and while designing the logos, since I was had no again background in graphic designing and everything,
mm,
I was a lot into making logical logos, like negative space logos.
mm.
And then I became good at making negative space logos because I felt like there was some kind of logic to it
Yeah.
and very simple and clean. So, and once you start getting into it, you realize your niche and what you actually want to do when it comes to UX design or UX UI in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that thing also happened. I realized that I'm a lot into research. Like, research is such an important step where you realize and you learn about the company and what the company wants and what are the other things, other factors affecting it, and why are they coming, to change whatever they want in the first place. So I think on the basis of that, you can do the other things, other set of steps. But yeah, you should be definitely paying attention to user research. That is what I realized, and I really enjoyed doing that. So that was my pretty much first year at Corpus Vision.
Right. And then from there, you went on to Hearty Hanks.
Yes, so I wanted a little bit of more exposure, I could say. And this particular place was kind of perfect for me. It was a digital marketing company,
Mm,
and a lot of people were there working. So there was a proper team of designers. And back then, since it was a startup, it was really nice. I got a lot of exposure, but only two designers were there, two to three. So I felt that maybe this is the time to step up. And similarly at Hardy Hanks also, I went through a series of interviews, which included again a design assignment and then an interview on the design assignment, how I did and why and what questions based on that. So I realized that after working at Hardy Hanks, because there were like so many experienced designers, they pointed out my mistakes clearly. So we talk about getting into a UX, getting into a design college and everything. What happens is that your mentality is built towards the design. And I think for me, that was the point at Hardy Hanks where my mentality as a designer was built. How should I be more looking at things? And yeah, so again, it was a really nice experience.
can you talk about the assignment that they would have given you in the selection process, during the selection process?
So what happened during the selection process was there was an interview, there was a proper one call where they realized how much knowledge I have, basic knowledge I have about UX design. And the second thing was they gave me an assignment where I had to make a complete case study and I had to redesign their website. It was a kind of challenge because now I'm redesigning their websites. Actually, it was not their website also, I can say. It was one of the products, but it was based it was integrated with their website itself. So it was kind of a challenge. So what I did, or what I feel personally, is that even while designing, a person should not think about how he wants to design a certain thing.
Mm,
I feel that maybe you should look into the company, what the company's design language is, what their vision is, and how they are doing things. And if your vision matches with them, then you realize that okay, you're actually suitable to work at that place. Otherwise, there are a lot of clashes again. So I realized that okay, the vision is matching. I'm liking it. I'm liking how the products are. I can relate it to them. I like the solutions. So definitely, and once you start researching about the company and what the values are, and then the users or the clients that they have, you can then do the assignment very well. So this was like a small thing that I realized after doing a lot of assignments. And there was a assignment. Post that, there was an interview with the design, like the creative head, where he asked me a bunch of questions about why and why did I do a certain thing, or even when it comes to breaking down like very small things like why was the experience like that shaped? Why was it not like this? You could have done it like this. This would have been better. So there were a lot of clashes also, which I had to handle and explain them how my point is, what I thought. At the same time, how what they are talking about is something as a feedback I can keep it with me and maybe improve next time.
mm,
So that was again one step. And post that, there was one more round where the actual head was with me and he was interviewing me, the person who was I can say, was handling the entire team again.
Right.
for India, and he asked me a bunch of questions which were based on situations. I can say a lot of situation based questions about if this is the user and this is the journey, or if he wants to do this, what is the journey? What can you do? How can you change the experience? Or what? Yeah. So a lot of questions were based on my on-spot solution, solution based solving or problem solving, I can say.
Can you give me an example of one of those tasks?
Yes, definitely. So, for example, if I'm designing an application, very small thing, let's say, designing an application for a person who really loves coffee and is ordering coffee every day, or drinks coffee every day. How am I going to design an application for him where he can just order a coffee within 2 to 3 minutes? That's it, not more than that. So it's like conceptualizing and experiencing what if she's a person, she or he, they have kids, they have a lot of chores to do, and uh, how they are just going out to a coffee store and then they are ordering it, and how the experience would be there. And it takes such a lot of amount of time, I can say, a lot of time to do all those things. And what would it be so different if they are ordering it from home and then they're just collecting it and then going on the way to work or anywhere?
Very interesting. So, like you said, the way you think as a designer was shaped at Hearty Hanks. And now that you've moved to Precisely, it's been a month that you've joined Precisely?
Yeah, it's been not even hardly been few weeks. I can 3 weeks, almost.
Pretty much, very new, very new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think right now it's the induction process going on, training.
Yeah, definitely. The orientation and the training is going on. Yeah.
Okay. Then I think maybe I'll ask you in some other time about how the difference, or how you developed or how you evolved as as a designer at Precisely. Maybe that thing we can just put it off for the next episode, maybe. Yeah, but now we've talked about how you chose UX design, and then we also talked about your interviews at different companies, right? So after Hearty Hanks, you moved to Precisely, right? You move, and you're just it's been a few weeks that you've joined. So tell me something about the selection process for these UX design interviews and everything. So is there anything different that is there in the industry that is happening? Like what's the trend? What does the employer ask a design student, or a design graduate, or somebody who wants to apply for a design position, UX design position? What can they expect?
Okay, so what I have heard or have experienced from giving a lot of interviews is that generally these days people are taking design oriented tests to actually see how your logic is and how are you going for a proper, there are sometimes we have seen during IIT exams and for IDC, for SEED actually, sorry. There are a lot of pattern based questions to check your knowledge about how you perceive things, I can say. So that is one thing that they really check, and they give you a time frame. You can take this test whenever you want, and they have a certain amount of score, and it is really difficult. I mean, or they ask you to play games, certain different kind of games.
Okay.
I mean, even they have been becoming very, I can say, updating themselves and modifying their hiring process. But this is one challenge where you cannot just go home and think about what you want and you want to make the case study, but it's on spot. Your actual skills are getting tested on a day-to-day basis, whatever you do. So you have to be very observant about everything.
Very, very cool. I mean, I didn't know about the games part. That's something new that I got to know today. So that's very interesting. So all throughout your journey, we've talked about all of these things. We've talked about your journey, your decision to go for UX, and then your job, your work. Tell me something that you wish that you had done it better. Is there anything like that?
Definitely there is 101%. So I feel that if I had known or if I had given myself a little amount of time back then to
Hmm.
think about what I really want to do. Again, I'm telling you, people think it's a very niche or it's a very cliche thing to say that I want to figure out what I want to do in life at a very early stage and everything. And it's not possible. People at 40 figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
But I really feel that the times are changing. If you have that amount of time, you can actually invest it into learning and mentally preparing yourself to become what you want to become rather than doing something else and then changing the course completely, which is fine, which is completely fine. But then you have to remember that you're doing that under different circumstances,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. And also, if people who are in 10th, 11th, 12th, like I would definitely would say that take some time off, try different things. If you're the kind of person who doesn't know what you want to do in life,
Hmm.
still start experience the job, the job itself, the end goal that you want to do. And once you do that, talk to real people, talk to people on LinkedIn, because they are the ones actually doing something
Yeah.
and their work. And there are a bunch of videos on YouTube where they say a life of a UX designer or a life of an FNHR. So
Yeah.
there are so plenty of things. Don't waste time thinking what I want to do. Just start doing it then and there. Don't waste time, I would say. Work hard and yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Kind of takes me back also to my journey, and I also think that okay, I shouldn't have wasted time. But yeah, so it's very valid. And talking to actual people about the domains or the job, it's a very good suggestion because that gives you the real time, like real life experience and information from the very person. Because I was told I did not do that. So I was told when I finished 12th that mechanical engineering would help you to get into design. Okay.
Okay.
So automotive design I wanted to get into. I was really like crazy about cars and stuff. And it I also again realized that that fascination for cars was there, but it was more of fascination for creative work that I had, which I realized later on. But that time I did not know. So I said, okay, if it's engineering, then let's do it. So after I did not take the time to verify, to cross check whether it's true or not, right? So that is something very important right now. And I think the way you suggested that talking to real people would definitely solve it. Uh, Give them the right picture. So that's a really good input. And something that I want to ask you, since you do not have a design education as of now, do you think that at some point in life you would take up a master's in design?
To be very honest, yes. I definitely feel that even after experiencing and learning so many things
Hmm.
practically, there is a certain amount of importance to a theoretical knowledge and to the history of design, to be very specific. Because if you don't know how are certain things evolved and how certain things came in time, it's a circle. You go back to it at some point in life. So I think it is very crucial for you to actually have that, like as I said, mentally grow yourself into that field.
Yeah.
Theoretical knowledge is definitely important. And even if I did a bunch of certifications myself, even if they were free or on Coursera, and they did play a major role in it, because you feel like you know it after reading.
Yeah.
But it's like an exam. You need a validation for it. As a human being, you need validation for what you're doing. And I think doing something like that, it just enhances or boosts your confidence about what you're doing.
Very cool.
So, after I left my job at Corpus Vision,
Hmm.
the I realized that I need to, as I said, I need to expand myself and gain more knowledge about design. And after seeing a bunch of videos of NID people and how they, like their lifestyle, I realized that I really want to go to a design school. It's a whole different experience, and I want that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go abroad and have that exposure, since I did my engineering in India. So I started applying abroad and I made my SOP. And when you have to explain yourself itself how you changed your domain and you're from an engineering background applying for a design college. It's very, very interesting. Like you have to explain it to them because they're not in front of you, and from your story they should understand your passion and the actual story, the actual raw story. And I think the making my SOP was really a very nice experience for me. This happened in October 2020. And yeah, that is the time when I started applying, and I also got into universities. Like I received the offer letter and the admission letter. I applied to Brunel University and City University in London. And I also got shortlisted for the UCLA Diploma in Design. So
these were basically universities offering courses in UI UX.
Yeah, so there was one at Brunel University. It was Design Strategy and Management.
Okay.
So I realized that if I'm having a certain amount of knowledge about UX design, why not amalgamate it with the management experience as well? Because that is also very important.
Yeah.
So that was one thing, and the other City University was offering pure UX UI designer role, and the placements were also very amazing, like Disney and Pixar and everything. So that was really one highlight for me, like interesting. And the third one was UCLA. As you know, UCLA is one of the topmost universities, and I realized that there are a lot of nice companies in US, obviously, and this is something, the whole pioneering, I can say the whole trajectory kind of a thing the US is about. So yeah, but because of certain issues and everything, I was not able to actually pursue my master's.
Okay.
And that was one point when I realized that, okay, if this is, I need to accept it. And maybe, a few years down the line, after once I'm like 3-4 years, I might actually give it a thought again.
Nice. So I have one question to ask. So when you talk about SOP, you said you had to write your SOP for the universities, right? When you were going through the application process and all. So give me something about how you went through that process of writing an SOP, because it doesn't happen. I have also written one. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a week's time. It takes a lot of time to write an SOP, because you write and you tear it off. I've been there. So how did it work for you? And if you can just give me a few things that you've mentioned in your SOP, that would also be great.
Great. So yes, definitely. It took a lot of time for me as well. I mean, months, I can say. And the first draft that I made, it was basically like my entire life story, and it was crossing more than 2,000 words, I can say. 2,000 words, and it was a lot. And I had to literally make something out of 800 words, and yet it was explain my story. So I remember the first few lines of it. They were like, I felt the tingling and numbness of my fingers as I tried to keep my hand steady on the keypad and looked at the clock ticking 4 a.m. Although it was past my bedtime, I could not stop what I was doing. And this is the kind of love and passion what design ignited in me.
Wow. I mean, it's like it's a really good hook.
So definitely, from there I explained the person that this is how I was actually into design, and then I told them how I changed from engineering to design, and then my work experience, what is very important to showcase and tell the person who's reading the letter. And then I went into why I wanted to pursue my master's, which is the most important thing, and why that particular college. So I think I was very raw when it comes to explaining why I really wanted to get in. I thought my passion should reflect my letter, even if I'm not physically present there. And also there was one very interesting thing on my resume, that was resume and my letter also, that I started writing a lot after I got into UX design. And I wrote my first story, which also got published in a book.
Oh, wow.
So that also definitely was a very amazing thing to write, I can say. My experience that, so many different divisions of according to Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence, everyone is sort of gifted in a way. They just have to experience it and understand it.
Yes.
So I feel, yeah, it opened a lot of doors, different doors of my creativity that I was not aware of.
Right. So you mentioned certifications, and can you just tell me what the certifications are? Because it would actually be useful for students who want to, go to UX, or maybe from different domains, want to just take up, certifications and get to know about UX.
Yeah, so there's one certification I started with was a basic introduction to UX design on Coursera.
Mm-hmm.
The second was, and even if students, you're not able to pay for the courses, there are times when you can't pay for the course. Please apply for the financial aid. Just write a story. Maybe, you can do all sort of things. Make different email IDs, apply for a financial aid. But what the end goal is that we should actually take the certification, right, and learn. The second certification was from California School of Arts. And they have 4 different verticals in it. So it starts from the UX and then it goes up to visual design thinking.
Okay.
So, and they have assignments also, which, it's like a check box, I can say. You understand where you stand in front of so many people or amongst a group.
Right.
So that is also one thing. And the third one was the Google certification, Google UX certification.
Okay.
That also gives you a lot of perspective about how the job role is going to be and what are the actual things that you're going to experience as a UX designer. Also learning what UX design is.
What is the duration of these certifications?
I feel it really actually depends upon you because it's like a 1 month. I think everything was for almost 1 month. Okay. But I would say not hurry. Like you have free time and you must say, okay, chalo, I'll just complete everything today itself. But no, just give yourself time. And, because it's a process, you might think that I can learn everything in a day, but just use that knowledge, try building something, then go back to it, again learn something, and then again. I remember my manager at Precisely, he tells me that it's a process. So, you always have to keep working hard towards it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to design. You have to keep working hard towards it and learn new things, experience new things. So yeah, that is one very important thing.
Very well, very well. Thank you for joining with me today. And I am absolutely sure, and I'm happy that I could have this discussion with you and you could join today, because there are a lot of new things that you have shared, and I'm sure your story, your journey would be relatable to a lot of students and people out there who want to switch to UX, especially now, because there's a lot of demand for UI UX designers in the market because of the current pandemic situation. We need people to understand how the users are right now. So it's definitely going to help a lot of people, and I'm glad that we could do it. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me again. It was really great.